Welcome back to Main Street Informant. In this channel, we provide information related to wealth, money, power, finance, business, and economics. In today's video, we will learn about the lies Putin tells his people about their economy and the country's anticipated catastrophic economic downfall. When and how? Let's find out in this video. The best case scenario for Russia's grace period before running out of money is 18 months. Vladimir Putin has been keeping the West in the dark about Russia's economic collapse. He has been tampering with data, cherry-picking information, and suppressing important economic facts. Putin's statements have been accepted by the mainstream media, but that is a critical error. The world will eventually become aware of Russia's terrifying crisis. Despite having what could seem to be a solid military position, Russia's economy is crumbling. Leaks that were subtle but alarming have revealed that the whole Russian economy is on the verge of collapse. This is because of various factors. Number 1. The unemployment rate in Russia is rising. The GDP of Russia is only $1.4 trillion. Nearly overnight, 42% of Russia's GDP left the nation. Since the invasion of Ukraine, more than 1,000 enterprises have abandoned their operations in Russia. Russia asserts that sanctions have resulted in the loss of 12 to 15% of direct employment. If 12 to 15% of individuals lose their jobs unexpectedly, they will also cease buying other goods and services. This is the result of one person's income is another person's expense. According to Russia's own statistics, this raises the unemployment rate to 35 to 40%. Number 2. Russians are leaving. Simply leaving the country is one of the safer ways to express opposition to Russia. Rich people are migrating from Russia as a result of the nation's failing economy. A projected 15,000 millionaires will leave Russia in 2022, or about 15% of the country's entire rich population. The lack of supply in the nation is one of the factors contributing to the migration of millionaires from Russia, which is connected to the following factor. Number 3. Exports and imports have dropped. Russia's imports are down 60%, which is worrying for a number of reasons. Imports are frequently viewed as local goods and services competitors. Therefore, a decline in imports would be advantageous for local businesses. But imports have fallen so dramatically that local businesses don't even have access to the necessary materials to produce their own goods. As a result, certain products are completely non-existent. Russia made an effort to compensate for its lack of imports by using the gray market. The gray market, commonly referred to as parallel importing, third parties import products directly from one nation to another. This entails a third party acquiring a good from one nation and bringing it to another without the manufacturer's permission. Russia's parallel imports are projected to total $16 billion. This, however, hasn't been sufficient to offset Russia's import crisis. Jeff Sonnenfeld, a Yale professor, claims that total imports are down $115 billion, or 60%. This suggests that just about 10% of the lost imports from Russia have been replaced by parallel imports. While others contend that Russia and China may cooperate commercially, China is actually aggravating the problem. Chinese shipments to Russia are significantly decreased as a result of companies' concerns for secondary sanctions. Imports are necessary for customers to be able to buy things. However, exports are much more important if Russia is to continue funding the war in Ukraine. Russia has lost a sizable chunk of customers for its energy products as a result of Western sanctions on oil and gas. Sales of oil and gas account for 40% of Russia's GDP. Therefore, the economy of Russia must be concerned about this. Number 4. The rate of inflation is rising. A major inflationary crisis results from Russia's import deficit. The inflation rate for Russia's currency, the ruble, is currently over 15% on an annual basis, according to the Central Bank of Russia. The Russian Central Bank has many reasons to falsify its inflation rate. According to an independent study by Jeffrey Sonnenfeld, the inflation rate ranges from 20 to 60% depending on the industry. Russia's central bank, in contrast to the US Federal Reserve, is actually lowering interest rates, which will only increase inflationary fears. Recently, Russia lowered its interest rate by 150 basis points, or 1.5%. This is a historically low fall, as Russia's interest rates have been declining for 5 straight quarters. It is highly likely that the Russian ruble will soon be worthless. Number 5. The government is running out of money. Putin faces a much more issue as the Russian stock market tumbles. Money is becoming scarce in Russia. Russia will run out of money in less than a year if spending continues at its current rate. In a sense, Russia's emergency fund is a ticking time bomb that will shortly detonate. The collapse of Russia will have a serious global repercussions. Nobody wants to lend money to Russia because its economy is in a freefall. China used to be Russia's primary source of financing, but China no longer does so. Fortunately for China, the entire amount of Russian debt is only $472 billion. Therefore, a Russian default wouldn't be very damaging, but more crucially, if Russia is unable to resolve its domestic issues, it may have to abandon its mission in Ukraine. Along with saving lives, this will aid in the West's economic recovery from the effects of sanctions. Having said that, over 1,000 Western corporations will discover that their operations in Russia have basically vanished overnight. Number 6. A coup against Putin is being planned by the Russian elites. Regardless of what Putin says, the Russian people are aware that their economy is doomed. In a democracy, citizens would only cast ballots to protest political mismanagement or change in economic policy. The issue is that free expression is prohibited in Russia. Following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, anti-war demonstrations erupted and over 13,000 demonstrators were detained. The demonstrators were treated inhumanely by the Russian administration. Many protesters were charged with crimes and imprisoned. A recent case of home arrest for a demonstrator who might spend up to 10 years in jail. Following the announcement of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the bill was passed. The law's intention was to imprison anyone who criticized the military as a kind of punishment. Russian citizens are still protesting in spite of the apparent negative effects. Clint Watts, a former FBI special agent, predicts that there is a good likelihood that either a military coup or a public uprising will lead to a revolt. Putin has done a fantastic job of preventing a coup, but one could still happen. Russian generals and members of the Komitet Gosudarstvennoy Bezopasnostia may be plotting to topple Putin, according to Ukrainian intelligence. A military elite organization called the Silovarks would be used to carry out such a coup. The Silovarks are thought to constitute the foundation of Putin's government. They allegedly possess the capacity to employ military troops, state prosecutors, and intelligence networks. If the Silovarks were to stage a coup, it would undoubtedly be accomplished before Russia ran out of money. Now, are you convinced that Russia's economy is collapsing? Look, Russia has a 40% unemployment rate. Spending by consumers is at an all-time low. The rate of inflation is rising. Citizens are exiting. 60% less is imported. Exports are in freefall. Money is becoming scarce for the government. The most stunning development is that Putin's opponents in Russia are plotting a coup. Let me know in the comment below how you think Russia can survive this disaster started by Putin. Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more contents like this. You can check out more videos on the channel and share. It will help my videos reach more people. See you in the next one.